Thank you, Madison. Great to see you there at the White House. And now joining us from Washington, D.C. as well, Montana Senator and Senate Finance Committee member Steve Daines. So, Senator, just what was your response last night to the president's speech?
Well, just remarkable how fast this administration is moving. It feels like, every hour here is a new day in the Trump world, how quickly they're getting results, dramatic results in terms of shutting down that southern border, going from 21 million illegals crossing under Biden's watch to the lowest level ever last February under Donald Trump's watch. So it's just fantastic to see the recruiting numbers in the military, record highs that we're seeing already. It's literally optimism returning to America. You can sense it, you can see it. And I'll tell you, it was demonstrated last night with, I can't tell you how many times I had to get up and down to cheer from what President Trump was saying, but to look over at those Democrats sitting on their hands, scowling, even when they're touting the joy of a child who had brain cancer, talking about what's going on with that young man who went to West Point, could not get a single Democrat to stand up and cheer. I've never seen that in all of my time here in Washington.
No, it was absolutely crazy. I had the honor to serve with you in the Congress. But Senator, I want to talk specifically about tariffs. Of course, American companies who build their products in the United States, they're not going to pay any tariffs. But what is the shift that you're seeing and feeling there in Congress, in the Senate, on where tariffs are going? Because there have been, the numbers have fluctuated. They've gone back and forth. Even today, the president made another adjustment. You're a businessman before you were a senator. What are you seeing on this front?
Well, first and foremost, you ask, what is the goal of the president in these tariffs with Mexico and with Canada? Is to protect our country. He's addressing the fentanyl crisis. When he walked into office, he saw the numbers. We're losing 100,000 Americans a year to fentanyl poisoning. If you look at what's going on the southern border, of course, seeing the Mexican cartels, the flood of fentanyl, but don't forget on the northern border, of which Montana is a northern border state, there was enough fentanyl seized last year coming across the Canadian border in the United States that could have killed 10 million Americans. And by the way, that was up 50% from the year before. So I think the undertold story, what's happening with the cartels and fentanyl production in Canada coming into the U.S., and that's President Trump's goal, use these tariffs as important leverage to get the Canadians and the Mexican governments working with us to stop this scourge of fentanyl.
Senator, just a follow-up on the tariff questions. The president has said that he thinks tariffs can make the country rich. There's some negotiating going on behind the scenes. There are deadlines that have passed, some of them that are upcoming. Can you talk to the American people about the idea of how tariffs will make America rich and what that would actually mean for their goods and services? Because you're hearing a lot of noise about inflation and the cost of goods going up as a result of these policies.
Yeah, well, I think an important metric that has not been talked about enough is the amount of investment that's already started to occur, commitments to invest some $2 trillion of investment announced in America, American manufacturing, American jobs, just since President Trump took over. And so this massive investment giving investors confidence that the president is going to protect America. It's an America First agenda. That's going to be an incredible stimulus for this economy, creating more jobs on top of reducing spending, which of course can be very inflationary when you spend too much money in the government, which we've seen certainly in the Biden administration. So the bottom line is you're seeing a president looking out for America First interests. And I'll say this as well. He's got great businessmen leading, like Howard Lutnick, Scott Bessent, Doug Burgum, Chris Wright. These guys all have extensive business backgrounds. And that's why you saw Howard Lutnick talking to our automakers here in the last 48 hours, making some adjustments to make sure that we're at the same time, protecting American jobs, encouraging investment as they're looking at this tariff deployment.
Senator, we want to get your reaction to this breaking news. President Trump just met with 8 released hostages from Gaza in the Oval Office, and he issued this warning to Hamas.
This is what he wrote on True Social. Shalom Hamas means hello and goodbye. You can choose. Release all of the hostages now, not later, and immediately return all of the dead bodies of the people you murdered, or it is over for you. Only sick and twisted people keep bodies, and you are sick and twisted. I am sending Israel everything it needs to finish the job. Not a single Hamas member will be safe if you don't do as I say. I have just met with your former hostages whose lives you have destroyed. This is your last warning. For the leadership, now is the time to leave Gaza while you still have a chance. And also, to the people of Gaza, a beautiful future awaits, but not if you hold hostages. And if you do, you are dead. Make a smart decision, release those hostages now, or there will be hell to pay. And he also signed it in all caps, Donald J. Trump, President of the United States of America. So as a senator who sits on the Foreign Relations Committee, what is your response to that?
Well, let's just say this. President Trump did not stutter with those remarks. He was very, very clear. There's one thing that is respected and one thing that moves action in the Middle East, and that is strength. That is what President Trump just projected with American strength. We think about Hamas and Hezbollah. I've been in those Hamas terror tunnels before with an IDF soldier, seeing what they did there in the Gaza border. I've been in the Hezbollah terror tunnels on the border with Lebanon. I was the last senator to be in those tunnels before the terror attack of October 7th. There's one purpose of these terrorists, that's to destroy Israel. There's one way that you protect Israel, that's by being strong, to making sure Hamas knows that we mean business. That's how you protect Israel, not by being mushy or clouding your thinking. President Trump was very clear, direct. This is how you keep Israel safe and America safe.
Yeah, clarity solves the day. Senator Steve Daines, thanks for joining us on The Bottom Line.